It all began when I attended a reception held at the Conley home, Will Conley. It was a reception for Jane Goodall. And I was very excited to go, and of course I knew about her. And as I entered the home, beautiful home, I remember, New England style home. Anyway, as I walked through the door, first person I saw was Jane, and she was giving a talk, and she looked over at me, and she was completing a sentence. She was saying, one of the things that gives her hope is that nature is resilient. And then when she saw me, she said, as with our Native American friends. So I distinctly remember that. And I walked in, and after she finished speaking, I was milling around, and Randall and Will were there, some other board members, and before I knew it, she was standing in front of me with her hand out. And of course, I took her hand and shook it, and I looked in her eyes, and we made a connection that I'll never forget. She is a very special person. I always think of her as a Earth Mother. It's like saying hello and greeting Mother Earth. She has a presence about her that's very special. And we got to talking, and next thing you know, she said, I would like you to serve on a board, the Pax Natura board. Some of the members are here, and I think it would be nice for you to serve. And I said, yes, sure, be happy to help out. And so that's how I became a member of the Pax Natura board. Every opportunity I get to lecture, I jump at it. I'll be responding to, I'll be talking at the Alta Club downtown Salt Lake later this month in response to the Netflix series American Primeval that's been televised, and people have been reacting to that. And I've been asked to give my perspective on that movie, and so I do that. I give lectures whenever I'm asked, because I believe in educating people, and I tell them like it is. I tell it like it is. We have created this situation, and it's very unfortunate. But the only way to change it is for us to come together as one, and to make the earth as one, as John Lennon said, make the earth one. That's what is necessary, a world of love and oneness. That's an identification with the Hopi and the Mayan prophecy. The Mayan interpretation is that the year 2002 represented a shift in the end of a phase, 2,500-year cycle, and the beginning of a new cycle. And the old cycle was primarily male-dominated, patriarchal period, and it was a period of violence, control, and great suffering. And the Mayan interpretation, and this was told to me by Francisco Pac, a Guatemalan educator, And I consider him a spiritual leader too. He told me that the shift would represent a movement from the male energy into the feminine divine. And there would be a 52-year period of trial in which the spiritual energies would wrestle with each other back and forth. And that ultimately the feminine spiritual energy would win out. And although it would be very challenging, we would enjoy 1,000 years of peace and harmony and tranquility. And so that's the Mayan prophecy, the interpretation of the 2012 shift of ages, it's been called. And so I embraced that concept when I read the book, New Earth Awakening by Eckhart Tolle. That tied in with it, not to mention my own observations of nature and life on Earth up to that point. It's unfolding right now in grand fashion. The current president of the United States, Donald Trump, represents the ultimate in patriarchy and control, dominance, greed, selfishness, violence. And I would have to say people like Jane represent the counterbalance, the opposite, or the new emerging energy. I forget I think it's Alexandria Cortez. Alexandria, I forget her middle name. She's a representative in the U.S. Congress. She also represents the new age, the strength of the feminine divine, not only intellectually, but spiritually and physically. I mean, she's very beautiful. And she recently gave a rebuttal to Donald Trump in one of his statements. She basically presented the opposite of everything he said in such a articulate way and with power that I said to myself, she represents the new leadership. And she's a person of color. She's beautiful. She's, like I said, she's articulate, and she's well educated, opposed to Trump, who is uneducated, and he's just a bully, a very weak person. He really has nothing to offer, and so that's where we're at in the world. We're up against these powers to be, and they are the patriarchy are pushing things almost like they're reacting to this new energy that's coming in. It's like they're wanting to get a jump on it so that they have all the momentum to roll through the 52-year cycle and disrupt and destroy the new age, the new period, the new cycle that is coming. And there's one problem with that. The power of nature and our Creator, the universe. They will get far in creating chaos and confusion, but ultimately they will be defeated. And all you have to do is take a look at the the devastation that nature can cause. Hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, drought, floods. I mean, it's coming. And we're just getting a taste of it now. But a lot of people are being affected by this. They're losing their homes. They're losing their livelihoods. Some of them are losing their faith, if they had any. They're being pushed to the brink. And we have asked for it. Due to our disconnect from our Creator and from nature, one of our spiritual leaders, well, he's more of a secular leader, but he's just happens to be very spiritual. This past year, I think it was early spring, he had a vision, and he's a Ute Indian man from the Four Corners area, the White Mesa community. He said that in this vision, a ancient priest appeared, and the priest communicated to him. He said, "The ancestors have a message for you." And before long, a rock panel appeared in front of him. And the ancient priest pointed to the panel and said, "They're there, behind the wall. The ancestors are there." And soon after it was communicated to him, the ancestors told him, "We're in a spiritual war at this time. At this time, we're encountering a spiritual war, a war between the forces of good and bad, light and darkness." And they told him to tell the people to spend more time in nature, to connect with nature and connect and talk with the Creator. Connect with the universe, which we are all part of. Don't get distracted in all these other crazy things that are happening. Spend time in nature. And I think that's something Jane would tell us all as well. As an Earth Mother, with her wisdom, she would say the same. So that is an example of a reaction to what's happening. We're here. We've always been here. Most of the time we've been connected to nature up until recently. Too many of our young people are being affected by the accoutrements of the modern day age, the telephones, the social media, television, all of the greed and wealth that is demonstrated on television. Everyone wants to be something they're not. They're striving for something beyond themselves that is really not real. And so Native people that have crossed that threshold are getting lost, and they're forgetting their traditional ways. But our people have survived because we always stayed close and connected to nature. By that I mean most of our ceremonies are closely connected to nature. The ceremonies themselves restore our connection to nature, always. From the sweat lodge ceremony to the sun dance ceremony, peyote, bear dance, all of these ceremonies are earth-based. And an example would be our philosophy is holistic, because we believe it's important to connect our head and our heart. And then that connection extends to the earth and then to the heavens. So it's similar to East Indian beliefs in the chakras, alignment of the chakras, and earth and sky, the heavens. So ours is very similar, but we're Our wisdom comes from a different hemisphere, but it's very similar. And so the thought is that when we connect all those elements together, we're whole. We're whole people. We're healthy, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, because we're connected to the earth and to the heavens, and we speak the truth. There's always congruence between the head and the heart, as Descartes spoke of. We try to prevent the war or the dualism between the head and heart. We try to keep congruent. So what's happened in modern day society is they don't believe any of this stuff. They operate strictly from the head. Everything is intellectual. If it can't be figured out intellectually, it doesn't count. Well, they're missing a whole world right down here. This connection with the earth is what's missing, and that's why they're destroying the earth. And so native people, we just sit back and just say, we shake our heads and say, what is wrong with these people? Why don't they understand they're destroying a beautiful home that was given to them? They didn't create it. It was given. They were blessed with this wonderful home, and they're destroying it. It makes no sense to us. And it also ties in with the Hopi and Mayan prophecy and the shift. You see, most indigenous, not all, but most of them were matriarchal, and their cultural base was matriarchal, and so they have always been. They've always been resisting the dominant forces. They've always been fighting upstream or against the wind. And so the prophecies state that, well, at some point that will change. These powerful forces that have dominated the ages, they're going to lose their steam. They're going to lose their momentum, and there'll be a big shift. And so hopefully that will happen. But it's hard to believe sometimes, because these domineering bully forces are so powerful right now. Well, I think it's central to all of this. The reason it's central is because for us in the Western Hemisphere, this has always been our message. I mean, we were here thousands of years before anyone else, and that was our message. That was our practice. And so who more can have a stronger influence in getting across that message of the need to connect and protect and preserve nature than indigenous people, especially the isolated tribes of the North and in South America. They're the ones that have the strongest commitment to that. And it's time we brought them to the table and not try to despoil their beliefs and undermine them, but to listen to them, learn from them, and stop judging them. You know, that's, if there's one thing I resent about Christianity, is that a little bit of knowledge causes them to become judgmental. You cannot be a Christian and be judgmental. That defeats the whole purpose. That's why I don't really refer to myself as a Christian. Because of that connection there. I don't like that affiliation with judgment. That's what's wrong with this world right now. I mean, who gave us the authority to judge? You know, where's that come from? We're all human beings. We're supposed to be brothers and sisters, for God's sakes. I mean, and it's hard. I know it's hard to not judge. I make that mistake from time to time. I'm not perfect, but at least I work on it. You see what I'm saying? And the lesson to that is in nature. Look at the diversity in nature. Huh? The lesson is right there in front of us, and we do not get it. Oh, but we're us humans, we're blessed with the intellect. We know better. And we can't even see what's in front of us. The importance of sovereignty is that if we lose our sovereignty, we will cease to exist as indigenous people with a different worldview, with a different way of thinking. Our connection to nature will be lost for sure. So our sovereign status needs to be preserved so that we can continue to exist and maybe contribute to this world. Ultimately, in becoming one, it means eliminating all of those divisions, the divisiveness, things that separate us. I mean, eventually, ideally, we should not have reservations. If we're treated like everyone else, ideally, we should create a place, heaven on earth, where people love each other and love nature and take care of ourselves and the earth. Ideally, that's what it should be. And it is idealistic, it is, but once again, I'm a dreamer. John Lennon, he said it all in that song, you know. It's all. In other words, we've already been given the lessons. We're just not following them. All the lessons are in place, and nature's there to illustrate it all, and we're just not paying attention. We're disconnected. We're broken. I just want Pax Natura to accomplish its mission, and that is to highlight the contributions of those who love the earth and have worked hard to call attention to the importance of the earth and all living things. See, that's the thing about Jane, is she connects with all the living things. And that is represented by when the Sioux say, Mitakawa Awasan means all my relations. It means connecting with all living things. So I pray for all living things, which includes me, you, everything that breathes and lives. So that's what it's all about right there. My hope is that our organization will play a major role in educating people to that way of thinking. And we will do our part. And that my dear friends, Jane, and especially Randall, what he's our president, he has dedicated himself to this organization, working with Jane and all the others. I mean, he's devoted a lot of money to educating people throughout the world, and I want him to get recognition for that, as well as Jane and all the others for their contributions, because it hasn't been easy. You know, in this world, we all have challenges, and if we can make a contribution while dealing with those challenges, then that's quite an accomplishment. That's an achievement, and it needs to be recognized by all of us who work hard to educate and make the world a better place, you know.